Hello, good evening and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Top stories in the news tonight. COVID death toll reaches 2,341 since the outbreak as teacher unions oppose opening of schools. President EDGAR LUNGU leads foreign dignitaries in celebrating the life of KK. Government urged to reduce the cost of farming inputs. And in international news, Liberia's hospitals brace for a surge in admissions of COVID-19 patients. And in sports news, MWAPE unveils Tokyo-bound Copper Queens squad.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Apex Hill, Kapolonga Road, Lusaka.
Hello once again, another news in detail. Various heads of states have paid their tributes to Zambia's first Republican president, Kenneth Kaunda, who passed on the 17th of June 2021 in Lusaka, aged 97. The heads of states who flew in from a number of African countries have joined Zambia's President EDGAR LUNGU in remembering the country's founding father. Speaking during the state funeral at Lusaka's showgrounds, President EDGAR LUNGU says Dr. Kaunda's life was exemplary and that he needs to be celebrated rather than mourned. Among the presidents in attendance were South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, Zimbabwe's Emmerson Mnangagwa, Nigeria's Muhammadu Buhari and Paul Kagame of Rwanda, among other senior foreign dignitaries. We have more in this report.
They came in masses to join Zambians in paying their tributes to their country's founding father, Kenneth Kaunda. Dr. Kaunda, who was the country's first president, left the people of Zambia on 17th June 2021 at the age of 97. Presidents of various African countries flew in to pay respects to Dr. Kaunda at the state funeral, which was being held at Lusaka's showgrounds. Zambia's President EDGAR LUNGU says Dr. Kaunda was a legend and true African icon who should be celebrated instead of mourned.
We are also here to pay utmost respect to a great man, a legend, a true African icon, and the founding father of our country, Zambia. At the age of 97, many people would say we are celebrating the life of Kenneth David Kaunda rather than mourning him.
President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, says the people of South Africa will forever remain grateful to Dr. Kaunda for standing with them during the apartheid.
Zambia provided us with the material and moral support and gave refuge to our leaders and those who had been forced into exile from our country.
Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has described Dr. Kaunda as a source of inspiration, saying he lived a life of sacrifice.
In President Kaunda, the continent has lost a Pan-Africanist, liberator, an elder statesman, visionary leader, and a selfless cadre who dedicated his entire life to the independence.
Others in attendance were heads of state from Malawi, Mozambique, Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, and Namibia. Dr. Kaunda will be laid to rest on 7th July 2021 at the presidential burial site. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Prince Fumpa Kizela of Mufumbe district in Northwestern Province has expressed disappointment over the sentiments made by the National Congress Party NCP President Peter Chanda that Chief Kizela is a hindrance to development in Mufumbe. Prince Fumpa, the son to Chief Kizela, says the allegations are regrettable and lack facts. The prince says his father has always wanted Kalengwa mine to be fully operational for the benefit of all the people. At a briefing recently, NCP leader Pastor Chanda accused Senior Chief Kizela of frustrating investors of Kalengwa mine simply because he wants to own shares in the mine. We have details in the following report.
Congress Party President Pastor Peter Chanda had on Sunday, 28 June 2021, accused His Royal Highness Chief Kizela from Mufumbi District in Northwestern Province of obstructing investment in Kalengwa mine for personal gains. According to Pastor Chanda, Chief Kizela wants to use his position to get himself shares in the mine, which he believes should not be the case.
I know the issue here where it lies. It's about shares. And these are matters which I strongly believe that other law enforcement agencies should take in interest. Because here is a land being allocated, and then you have the chief having an interest in that particular mining activities that is happening. So the question is, has there been a consensus with all the people, including the Royal Council, in giving the chief having the rights to keep shares on behalf of the people?
But in responding to these allegations, Chief Kizela's son, Prince Fumpa Kazila, has rubbished remarks made by Pastor Chanda, saying his father has always wanted Kalangwa mine to be fully operational for the benefit of all the people.
I would like to put it on record that the statement by the Peter Chanda that His Royal Highness Chief Kizela is hindering development in Mufumbe is regrettable and lacks facts. His Royal Highness has always wanted Kalengwa mine to be fully operational for the benefit of all the people in Mufumbe and Zambia at large. We currently have a high number of youths in Mufumbe and Zambia at large who will benefit greatly once the mines are opened. The royal establishment awaits such a time eagerly.
Prince Fumpa adds that his royal establishment has always stood by Moxico, an investor who have proved to be helpful to the community by building of a police station which was guarded by fire, and that at no point have they been stopped from investing.
As a royal establishment, we have always stood by Moxico, who have been helpful to the community. For example, the building of police station, which was guarded by fire. They have further assured the community of construction of schools, hospitals, and sponsoring of youths to higher institution of learning with the assurance of jobs placements.
Government has a mammoth task to protect investment in the country, but traditional leaders also play a role at ensuring that investment in their chiefdom benefit the local people and not exploit them. Hence, the need for the two parties to work closely. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Some wholesalers of second-hand clothing in Lusaka have complained of the high cost of doing business since the gradual increase of the United States dollar against the Zambian kwacha, especially in the last 6 months. Some of the dealers spoken to say their businesses are on the brink of closure, as most of them are failing to meet the prevailing situation. We have details in this report.
Second-hand clothing, commonly known as salaula, is not an unusual sight in the central business district of not only Lusaka but most trading places within the country. A trade which started as far back as the 1980s. Salaula, a Bemba term meaning to select clothing from a pau in a rummaging manner. However, this trade has in the recent past been threatened as a result of the cost of doing business being necessitated by the rise in the United States dollar against the Zambian kwacha. The wholesalers dealing in this business say they are struggling to cope, while others are left with no choice but to close down their businesses. For the retailers who were afraid to be on camera for fear of political cadres within the markets pointing them out for speaking to the media, their story is not any different from the wholesalers.
According to every day. Each and every day so na ifo ya mukoda gatosanga mu prophet kai ngatose mukushita kuno abantu baledanda ola tinafidura manje ifo fa kutina fena tatuishita kwete fa kushita kai sinsi kulo kutosenda baredurisha. So the fact is that my dollar is high. That's the main point.
Second-hand bills as of January 2021 to date July 2021 have been upwardly adjusted by almost 1,000 kwacha and more as a result of the depreciation of the kwacha against the United States dollar, coupled with many other factors such as the COVID-19 pandemic, results in the high cost of doing business for salaula traders at the top and the bottom of the chain. Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga, Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The Zambia National Marketeers and Credit Association Zanamaka President Mupila Kameya has challenged marketeers to stop making up excuses for failing to adhere to the COVID-19 preventive guidelines. Mr. Kameya, who Friday morning inspected the Munyaule market in Lusaka's central business district, also handed out some face masks to those that did not have. Meanwhile, Mr. Kameya says Zanameka has instituted a group of officers who will on a daily basis be checking on compliance levels by traders and buyers at the market. We have details in the following report.
Thousands of traders and buyers every day flock to Munyaule market in Lusaka, where observing some of the 5 golden rules such as avoiding crowded places and social distancing is almost impossible. While COVID-19 has no size and place, one risks contracting the virus in places such as this, hence the need for all traders and buyers not to seek an escape route for not doing the right thing. Zambia National Marketeers and Credit Association President Mupila Kameya visited the market to check on compliance levels as well as distribute face masks to those who were seen without them.
Why we are here is to ensure that we sensitize our traders, the marketeers. We also sensitize further those that are buying, the products. We also sensitize the taxis and drivers who are using this road. It's quite a highly populated place, and there are so many people coming in to buy and resell. So we want to ensure that those that are not wearing masks, they must not be allowed to come in this market.
Mr. Kameya also says a team has been constituted that will on a daily basis visit the market to check on compliance levels. He says certificates will be issued to marketeers that will be found complying with the COVID-19 preventive guidelines, which will be presented to the local authority when they come to inspect the market to avoid inconveniencing traders.
We have identified our leadership here, whom we are working with closely, and who, in other words, will remain as ambassadors in here because we may not be here, but they are here, and they will ensure that they will carry on in sensitizing the numbers that are here. After we have done an assessment, we are issuing every market a certificate that shows that that market is compliant to the golden rules.
And traders are happy with the work of Zanamaka and wants COVID-19 to be controlled so that their businesses can get back to normal.
Nisoyamika maningi kuyonse ya Zanamaka, especially ba president. Nipokondwera so naife tafaka konzeru kuti wapunzise bantu kuti bazibala ma face mask.
Ile mask na ukora pozimfa na ikura mchalo chezo. So twatotera pa kumwachai.
Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Residents of Kanyama compound in Lusaka have expressed mixed feelings towards government's announcement that schools that were closed for 21 days will reopen on the 8th of July 2021. While others feel reopening of schools is a good move despite the rise in COVID-19 cases, others are still skeptical about the safety of their children, especially those in primary school. We have details in the following report.
Despite the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country, government through the Ministry of General Education has announced that schools will on the 8th of this month reopen for the second time. According to General Education Permanent Secretary Dr. Jobex Kalumba, schools are expected to meet the required standards of COVID-19 prevention, but this development has not been received well by some parents who feel it's not the right time to allow children to go back to school with the high daily statistics.
COVID is real, like for myself. So, not one in the school like as of now, because every day my death rates are increased. So katakupata maruzi my health tips isaba kumanja na sanitizer, at least it can help. Then maka I think we should come together like upempela bantu baleba mwadi na nwambi. Yeah, yesterday we were about 71. So this is about prevention. You know, what it about my school room. Apa, when I read apa, vana angkade angatenge matende ya COVID. And different places. So number yakufa. So I don't think it's good to tell us a good.
But Mr. Richard Zimba feels schools must reopen because this will reduce on a lot of unwanted pregnancies amongst the pupils.
Sifmati vana wanongeke makomboni. Kozi vana isibaza tunongekera mama mani mawaneza pesa chwana tutombodoba machani tombodoba machani so ije sima wama atesibende ko ku school ipanga ko sense nishibi bindvambiri shiba bitako munga pa komboni ngapasile bana mamimba bantu wapesikate makomboni ba.
Meanwhile, several pupils have expressed different opinions concerning reopening of schools.
Makomboni washa corona izafuta so tukaenda school tabana ma face mask tasama kumanza atakapunzira che tikalemba mshemushe tikasizolemba pa mavuku tasamba kumanza tabana face mask tikakomboka kwenda state kunyumba waona kunyumba pia kulipinwa pyanga washambale watenga umwe kwa lemba ukashirika wapona ndoni maskuru segurire yote time mavala corona sabu kama jangi bana itapata bwazi kama majangi timbua mzambia mwe
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A coalition of 6 teacher unions in Zambia has urged the Ministry of General Education to immediately withdraw the circular stating that schools will reopen on the 8th of July 2021. Ministry of General Education Permanent Secretary Jobex Kalumba, in a circular dated 1st July 2021, directed that schools will be declared fit. Directed that schools that will be declared fit will be allowed to reopen on the said date. Betu's General Secretary Henry Sinkala, during a consultative meeting, has called on government to conduct mass screening of pupils and teachers, as well as fumigating for schools before they are declared ready to open. We have more in this report.
The announcement by the Ministry of General Education that schools which will be declared fit to open should do so on 8th July 2021 has alarmed the 6 teacher unions in Zambia. Permanent Secretary in charge of technical services at the Ministry of General Education, Jobex Kalumba, in a circular dated 1st July 2021, announced that schools which would have put up coronavirus preventive measures and declared fit will be allowed to open on the said date. A coalition of the country's 6 teacher unions, however, has advised against this move, saying this is a recipe for disaster. The unions, which consist of the Zambia National Union of Teachers ZANUT, the Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia SESTUZ, the Basic Educators Teachers Union of Zambia BETUZ, the Professional Teachers Union of Zambia PROTUZ, the National Union of Public and Private Educators in Zambia NUPEZ, and the United Teachers Union of Zambia UNITUZ, have questioned the move to open schools amidst the spike in coronavirus cases, saying cases were lower when the closure of schools was announced. The TU's General Secretary Henry Sinkala was speaking on behalf of the teacher unions at an urgent meeting held in Lusaka to discuss the way forward.
For example, the time when we closed schools, it was very evident that we had very few cases in rural areas. We never also recorded mortalities in certain provinces. But the current status is that all the provinces, all the districts have received or have recorded these cases as well as death. So it is illogical to actually reopen at a time when the situation is worse than when we closed.
He has called on government to come up with long and short-term plans to minimize the impact of the coronavirus on the education sector.
In this regard, the union suggests that government and stakeholders come up with both short and long-term measures to minimize the impact on the education sector. These could include adjustments to the school timetable or calendar, or review of the curriculum, and introduction of affordable education tech programs, training teachers in open and distance learning methodologies, and even complete re-engineering of our entire education cycle.
Responding to a question by Camnet News, the teacher unions say if they are ignored, they will request teachers to stay at home, saying that preserving life is more important than education. Zipporah Mushala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Meanwhile, the National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPEZ, has called on government to consider the reopening of schools only when the cold season comes to an end. NUPEZ Deputy National Secretary Administration Kampamba Tembo has told Camnet News in an interview that the cold season has proved to be the most notorious period where COVID-19 spreads like wildfire, putting teachers and pupils at risk of contracting the virus. Mrs. Tembo says government should rescind the decision to reopen schools after the elapsing of the 21 days to give more chance to Ministry of Health to access the situation. She has called on parents to help their children academically while at home to ensure that pupils do not lag behind.
So for now, if we are to look at the situation, you find that people have closed bars, they've closed everything. So for now, we are saying life is key and it is important. We need to hold, not until there is some guidance from Ministry of Health. That's when possibly we can come in to say we need to help. When we open our schools this time around, amidst this COVID-19, it will be unfair to our teachers, not only our teachers, even our pupils. The learners, they are coming from communities, and of course the teachers are coming from communities. And preferably we are also thinking to say opening should come after the cold season and not now, because this time around, this COVID-19, if we are to just think aloud, you obviously know to say it is triggering when the cold is at its peak. So we are saying let us wait, not until guidelines are given to the latter.
The Ministry of Health has reported that COVID-19 has claimed 70 people in the last 24 hours. Ministry Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, says the COVID-19 death toll in Zambia now stands at 2,341. Dr. Malama says the ministry is particularly concerned with the high positivity and death rate in Eastern Province. The Permanent Secretary adds that a team has been dispatched to go and provide technical support in case management. And Dr. Malama says the percentage of those requiring oxygen support and critical care has continued to be high, adding that 2,000 oxygen cylinders are to be delivered in the country today. The National Malaria Elimination Center, NMEC, has called for adherence to malaria preventive measures from members of the public in order for the country to achieve its goal of eliminating local malaria transmission by December 2021. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Camnet TV News, NMEC Public Health Vector Control Specialist Emmanuel Kumar says members of the public shun indoor residue spraying of their homes and abrogate regulations to sleep under treated mosquito nets, which is posing as a challenge to achieving malaria control goals. Malaria still remains one of the country's disease burdens, recording over 2,000 deaths from the same annually. Dr. Kwoma, however, says with concerted efforts, Zambia can achieve its goal of ending malaria from being a public health concern.
Therefore, by 2030, under the SDGs, we will know who have done it. So if China has done it after 70 years, I don't think Zambia will reach 70 years before completing malaria in the country. Looking at the interventions, the new public health innovations that have come on board, and looking at the quality of the staff that are driving the motion to eliminate malaria. Therefore, let the nation be assured, strides are being made, achievements are being seen in certain areas. No, malaria is a difficult disease to eliminate completely. It needs to be level-headed, and also we are lucky we have the political will, funding also across, and the partners are also doing their best to see that malaria is eliminated in Zambia.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news.
To you, our dear esteemed customers, as AMTEL, we're glad to bring something of excitement to you, and it's a promotion we've dubbed YATU, which simply means it's yours. And in this promotion, we're giving benefits that are tailored to you specifically as a customer, depending on the profile or the segment that you're sitting on as a customer. And in this promotion, we are saying you will get from as low as 13 ngwe benefits amounting to over 500%, and it's all for you so that you get more benefits. So to know more about YATU, stay on.
YATU is a promotion that offers ZAMTEL customers amazing benefits that are made just for you. ZAMTEL customers will get amazing benefits of over 500% bonus back the value that they used when they subscribe to a YATU offer. YATU benefits will be usable for ZAMTEL to ZAMTEL calls, ZAMTEL to ZAMTEL SMSs, and browsing on pay-as-you-go defined rates. For you to access the amazing YATU offers, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 1 to purchase the offer that best suits you. ZAMTEL customers will have the ability to actually purchase the YATU benefit more than once. So this means you can purchase the offer twice, you can purchase the offer 3 times, and the benefits will be accumulative at the end of the day. YATU benefits will be able to be redeemed if you subscribe to the same offer within a 5-day period. So if you have unused benefits from the previous day and the expiry date comes, you can still subscribe to the same offer within 5 days and your benefits will be able to accumulate. How amazing is that? For you to check your YATU benefit balance, all you have to do is dial *335# and select option 2 and you'll be able to see your current balance.
International Airport, located just 15 kilometers from the Victoria Falls, is now one of the best and busiest airports that Zambia has. Vote for EDGAR LUNGU and the PF that have brought you change.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Zambia has embarked on an economic journey for individual financial emancipation, empowering its citizens through land acquisition and developing the nation through agriculture. This time, Zambians are coming together, taking it upon themselves with the help of government to develop this great nation by taking individual responsibility and ownership of this great nation. The economic revolution has started. There are thousands of Zambians with a can-do mindset who are resolute, unstoppable, full of confidence and conviction that Zambia's set time of favor for development is now. Don't be left out. This could be the time you have been waiting for. Camnet Television, in conjunction with the United Agrivision Consultancy Limited, will be hosting a national conference on becoming a millionaire through agriculture. Date 1st October and 2nd October 2021. Charges 750 kwacha per person per day, that includes lunch. A limited number of participants through Zoom have also been reserved. You can also be part of the conference from the comfort of your home by registering online via Zoom, joining the people who were born for greatness. Charges for participation via Zoom are only 300 kwacha per person. Time 0730 hours to 17 hours. Registration and confirmation of attendance will take place on the 29th of September 2021. Time 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue the Healing Word Ministries International, the home of Camnet Television in Apex Hill, Kapulonga Road, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet News, and welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Zambia Medical Association has underscored the need to maintain focus on other diseases while combating the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. There have been concerns that authorities are directing less attention to diseases such as malaria and HIV/AIDS in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. Zambia Medical Association Secretary General Masiku Piri says there is a need to strike a balance to ensure universal health coverage. We have more in the following report.
The COVID-19 is a deadly pandemic that has affected the global community, Zambia inclusive, with an accumulative number of deaths standing at 2,341 as of 2nd July 2021. Responding to the COVID-19 is a costly venture, and that has affected the attention to other diseases such as HIV. Among the prominent advice has been that people should stay home, but that has prompted people to stay away from health centers. Persons living with HIV are among the affected population, as others opt to stay away from the health facilities in fear of contracting the COVID-19. Out of 1,300,000 Zambians estimated to be living with HIV, 1,176,000 are on treatment, and out of these, 95% of those who are HIV positive know their status. Out of these, 94.6% are on treatment, and out of these, 94.2% are virally suppressed as of September 2020. And to appreciate the situation, I spoke to Dr. Cornell Osborne, the National AIDS Council Director.
Of COVID, we saw this, a decrease in people accessing services, especially like children for under 5 for immunization. But we've been trying to intensify our messages to say you need to continue to access the services. So in fact, we have been mobilizing resources towards COVID, because if we fight COVID, if we control it, then things will be better for us for HIV. If COVID gets out of hand, then all those good things that we did for HIV will return back.
Zambia Medical Association Secretary General Masiku Piri reminds authorities to pay attention to other communicable and non-communicable diseases even as the country fights the COVID-19.
We need to be cognizant of the fact that other diseases, the infectious diseases, are still there. Tuberculosis, malaria, HIV, diarrheal diseases, obstetric and surgical emergencies, as well as non-communicable diseases are still there. And we believe that in as much as there is this new invisible enemy that we are learning and growing every day, we need to still pay attention to also the other disease burdens, because malaria is still the #1 killer disease and we still have it in our country. So the Zambia Medical Association therefore is urging the government that we put emphasis on the Abuja Declaration that the health sector should be funded higher than it has been funded in the past.
As the country fights the COVID-19, there is a need to ensure that other diseases are kept in check to avoid losing track. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
As Zambia commemorates the Global Social Protection Week, the Zambia Civil Society Scaling Up Nutrition Alliance is concerned over the chaotic manner in which the government continues to implement social protection programs, especially with the advent of the coronavirus pandemic. The CSO Sun Country Coordinator notes that most government-run social protection programs meant to reduce poverty and improve the nutrition outcomes in Zambia have been politicized, resulting in the intended beneficiaries not benefiting from the programs. Matthews Muhuru regrets that politicians have been using social protection programs, such as the social cash transfer, as a campaign tool, thus raising concern among donors and other stakeholders. As Zambia commemorates this week under the theme Responsive Social Protection in a Changing World, Mr. Muhuru recommends that the government depoliticizes all social protection programs and reduces the misappropriation of funds meant for such activities. He notes that the need to ensure that nutrition is mainstreamed, having identified social protection as a key instrument in the reduction of poverty and vulnerability.
We know that, there are a number of stakeholders, including from government, apart from government, there are a number of cooperating partners that are also supporting government efforts in just implementing, social protection interventions, because social protection is really important, especially in the times that we are living in, where, COVID and other economic factors have placed a lot of people in a very vulnerable state. So for us, we are making a call on government to really strengthen the social protection systems, as well as improve targeting of beneficiaries. A number of people that are living with different disability are left out in the current selection criteria. And other people that are very vulnerable, like adolescent girls, pregnant women, and other people with vulnerabilities are also not part of these programs. And also what is concerning is the fact that the Auditor General's report, year in, year out, would produce reports that show that misappropriation of funds that are meant for social protection have still continued.
KRI Zambia has called on all farmers to diversify their agricultural activities, adding that this will improve the economy and reduce on poverty levels. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News Friday, KRI Zambia Executive Director Dr. Frank Kayula says his institution is working hand in hand with government to educate.
The Zambian agriculture policy recognizes that crop diversification is one of the key essentials for achieving food and nutrition security. KRI Zambia Executive Director Frank Kayula says diversifying the agriculture sector will guarantee food security, improve and reduce poverty vulnerabilities in the country.
Crop diversification is actually the system of cropping where you have different crops that are grown at the same time, for you to spread the risks when you are doing your agriculture, especially agriculture as a business, but it can be done also for food security.
Mr. Kayula says there is need to build capacity among the farmers on the importance of diversifying away from monocropping, which has characterized Zambia's agriculture sector.
To take one preferred crop, you still survive on another crop, but also it takes advantage of the various markets that are existing for various crops, so that the farmers are able to make money not from a single market, maybe a maize market, but they can also make money from a vegetable market or a soybean market.
Government, among other stakeholders, have also encouraged crop diversification as a means of ensuring national food security. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Small-Scale Farmers Development Agency, SAFADA, has called on the government to invest more into effective agricultural programs that will contribute to the growth of the agriculture sector in Zambia. In an interview with Camnet TV Friday, SAFADA President Boyd Mobwe says there is need for government to support the farmers in the country to secure a bumper harvest next year. Mr. Mobwe adds that all agricultural stakeholders should aim at sensitizing farmers to grow crops that are climate resilient, that will mitigate the impacts of climate change on agriculture. We have more in the following report.
The agriculture sector is one of the fastest growing sectors with the capacity to grow wealth and jobs in the country if well managed. The Small-Scale Farmers Development Agency, SAFADA, is one of the organizations on the ground spearheading various agricultural activities in Zambia. The organization has therefore called on the government to intensify its effort to promote agriculture if the country is to secure food security in the coming years. Mr. Boyd Mobwe is the SAFADA president and director.
It means that the government should consider some of the issues, aspects in terms of policy and also the programs that are put in place to help out the farmers. We think if we are to attain good results in agriculture, the farmers themselves, the small-scale farmers, must be assisted 100%.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mobwe has revealed that the organization SAFADA has embarked on a project that will create an economic partnership agreement between small-scale farmers and the private sector. This is aimed at building capacity to now best the agriculture sector can be enhanced in Zambia.
About diversification, how do a farmer diversify if there is no proper support in terms of economic incentives? Farmers need credit facility. They don't have any access to credit facility. Of course, there is a lot of training programs taking place on the ground, but how do we see the farmer using that knowledge?
Alex Chimba, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. We'll take another break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
I was born in Mwengwa in a grass-thatched house. I went to school barefoot and then to secondary school. University came, all of this on government bursary, on the sponsorship of the people of Zambia. Many people ask me questions. Why have you continued to seek public office? You've been arrested 15 times. This fight is not about Hakainde. It's about 18 million Zambians who want a better life. I'm standing for the presidency of this country because I know and I believe that this country is so rich and yet its people live in poverty. I am standing for that child to have an opportunity to go to school the way I did myself. It's time for change. Zambians have suffered enough. I'm Hakainde Hichilema. I invite you to take my hand. Together, we will build a better land for every Zambian.
In this fast-paced era of industrial boom and population growth, there is need to invest in smart ways of managing electricity and water consumption and reducing utility billing costs associated with the postpaid billing system. At Savenda Electronics, we manufacture right here in Zambia different types of high-quality smart electricity and water meters to customer specifications. Savenda Electronics water and electricity meters help you monitor your usage and gives notifications such as low units, tampering, low battery, and many other features. These easy-to-use meters makes it easier to buy units even in these COVID times and top up just from the comfort of your space. Favorable contract terms are available to both electricity and water utilities. For more details, get in touch with us on the following numbers: 0956 580 349 or 0977 498 318. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
President EDGAR LUNGU and the Patriotic Front have transformed the transportation sector by facilitating the construction of bus stations around the country. Vote for EDGAR LUNGU and the PF that have brought you change.
Every day for me means hard work. Going to sell my goods at the local market. To get more customers, I have my secret. Oracle Pure Glycerin. It's soft, smooth, and keeps my skin perfect. And my customers know it. Thank you, Oracle, for my perfect skin.
At Master Signs, our services range from outdoor, indoor signage such as billboards, banners, 3D light boxes, pylons and neon signs. We are located at plot number 397A, Makeni Road, Lusaka, at Oryx Filling Station. For more details, call us on +260 967 100 090 or +260 966 999 981, or better still, email us at infomastersign@gmail.com. Master Sign, we will make it shine. 2021 has been described as a highly politically charged year. This is because every 5 years the country goes to the polls, and that 5 years elapses with only a few months remaining down to the ballot. The battlefield to appear on the ballot is becoming fertile. A lot of people are expressing interest of appearing on the ballot.
In all this, our interest is to put the duty bearers, the leaders, and those aspiring to task by asking the relevant questions.
If you're an aspiring candidate, be it councillor, mayor or member of parliament, get in touch with us to get yourself on the verdict.
We go beyond speculation in dealing with policy and governance issues. The right questions are asked to help you make a verdict.
For more details, you can call us on 0962 965883, 0979 753010, or email us info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Join us on Camnet TV
every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Friday at 17:45 hours
on a new program dubbed The Verdict.
Remember that Camnet TV is not just another channel.
Welcome back. We now look at international news. Nearly 2 weeks into the 42-day COVID-19 lockdown, and around 600 vendors at Kampala's largest market, Nakasero, are forced to stay overnight in makeshift called cramped quarters. The traders try to get some sleep surrounded by their fresh produce as they navigate the strict dusk to dawn curfew in the hopes of making a living through the coming weeks. A coordinated sleep between the fruit and vegetable stores is their chosen setting, as they are forbidden from returning home as pay an agreement with the government in order to keep working during the lockdown without violating the imposed curfew. In other news, Liberia's capital, Monrovia Redemption's Hospital, is on the front line as a new rise in coronavirus cases threatens to overwhelm Liberia's health system. Used to providing less complex care to residents of New Crew Town, the facility has found itself admitting COVID-19 patients in recent weeks. Liberia has posted 3,794 infections and 123 coronavirus-related deaths reported in the country since the pandemic began. Here is a roundup.
In the capital, Monrovia, Redemption Hospital is on the front line as a new rise in coronavirus cases threatens to overwhelm Liberia's health system. Used to providing less complex care, the facility is now admitting COVID-19 patients. I was almost giving up my breath because it began from home. When it first started, I was alone. Like I was lying down. I wanted to blow my nose, and it turned out to a different thing. The hospital's director says the facility is adjusting to provide care, but it still lacks the capacity to test for the virus.
So those patients that come to us and we suspect that they are presenting with signs and symptoms of COVID, we isolate them, take the specimen, we can do the testing here, send those samples to the national lab, and then they give us the results. So far we have had 5 positive cases, being admitted in our isolation.
The hospital has begun producing oxygen to avoid shortages of the vital product. While Liberia's health system took epidemic management experience from the 2014 Ebola outbreak, experts have warned that the speed and scale of the coronavirus is much bigger.
The United States ambassador to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mike Hammer, visited Beni on Thursday in light of the most recent attack believed to be by the Allied Democratic Forces armed group that claimed the lives of at least 9 civilians. Locals have since taken to the streets in protest of the violence, carrying the body of one of the victims as they marched to the town hall to demand that the police and military provide better protection to the population.
C'est une situation très compliquée. Il n'y a pas de solution facile.
It's a very complicated situation. There is no easy solution. It will be an issue that will take some time to solve. But if the efforts are there, with good coordination, and all together, as I said, the Congolese government, the security and intelligence authorities with MONUSCO, the UN mission in DRC, with the support of other countries, and the international community, it is possible to improve the situation. And that's what we want. Hammer also added that the United States pledges to stand in solidarity with the residents of Beni and would assist in tracking down those behind the attacks in the region, which has been marked by conflict among armed groups, vying for control of its natural resources for over a quarter of a century. Nearly 2 weeks into the 42-day COVID-19 lockdown, around 600 vendors at Kampala's largest market, Nakaseru, are forced to stay overnight in makeshift cold-cramped quarters surrounded by their fresh produce as they navigate the strict dusk till dawn curfew in the hopes of making a living.
I'm sleeping on a mat and some pieces of the boxes, together with my net.
Life has changed that because we are not at home. Everything is just difficult. Bathing, as you know, ladies, it's quite difficult. Washing our things, the way we sleep, so things are not so easy.
In light of the record numbers of coronavirus cases and deaths in Uganda, President Museveni froze all public and private transport on June 18th. As such, market activity is drastically down.
The time when it is not locked down, we are more than 2,500 vendors in this market. But per now, if it is locked down, we have like 600 vendors who spend here a night.
Hospitals in the East African country are struggling as daily new COVID-19 infections soared from the low 100s in late May to over 1,700 by mid-June.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, Zambia's women's coach Bruce MWAPE has unveiled the 22-member Copper Queens squad for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, with the inclusion of 4 foreign-based players that are expected to lead the team in Japan. Israel-based goalkeeper Hazel Nali, Zesco girls Ngambo Musole and her Indeni Rose's counterpart Catherine Musonda have made the cut. Several members of the Olympic qualifying team have been named in MWAPE's squad, with skipper Barbara Banda starring for the Copper Queens alongside Margaret Belemu, Martha Tembo, Lushomo Mwemba, Anita Mulenga, Irene Lungu, Helen Mubanga and Grace Chanda. Also in the squad is a youthful duo of Queen's Academy defender Esther Siamfuko and midfielder Susan Katongo, who turns up for the ZISD in the first Women's Super League. The Copper Queens have been drawn in Group F with China, Brazil and Netherlands, and will open their campaign on July 21 against the Netherlands.
We've been in camp for the past almost 3 months now. And I can simply say, okay, the team is now ready. The period that we've been in camp, we managed to play 1 international game against South Africa. And The rest of the friendly games that we have played basically local friendlies. 32. Out of 32, 6 were dropped last week, and right now, as I'm saying, we are remaining with 24 players. 24. The last list of the final list, which is the maximum number that has been given to us for the players who are supposed to go for the Olympics, is 22.
For me, I'm not having any pressure because I've played a couple of games, so I don't have any pressure going into the Olympics. I just have to go and work hard. And looking at the teams that we are playing at, alongside China, I might know them, but football changes every time. So I just have to be focused and go and do my best. And to the fans, just keep on supporting us and wishing us all the best.
To end the news, we'll take a look at the headlines once more. COVID death toll reaches 2,341 since the outbreak as teacher unions oppose opening of schools. President Edgar Lungu leads foreign dignitaries in celebrating the life of KK. Government urged to reduce the cost of farming inputs. And in international news, Liberia's hospitals brace for a surge in admissions of COVID-19 patients. And in sports news, MWAPE unveils Tokyo-bound Copper Queens squad. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, coming from Romans 8, verse 39, and it reads, "Height or depth or any other created thing will have the power to separate us from the love, of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." On that note, we come to the end of our news. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.